The strategic attack plan on Arc Nova, the power nucleus of the enemy orbit, had begun. Arc Nova was a fortress created by a meteor strike, and if we didn't get control of it, safety along the route between the Earth and the Moon could not be guaranteed. Our plan was to gain control of the Arc Nova and open up the lunar routes. All ships prepare to launch. All ships prepare to advance. Penetrate Arc Nova as planned, and destroy the base from inside. Versus will approach as close as possible. But the enemy fire is strong. So take full precautions. Again, text scroll can be a little faster game. Either way, hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Cybernator. In the last one we started off the game and now we're basically raiding the Death Star in arguably one of the game's hardest levels. More on that in a moment. Jake, search the understructure for a way inside Arc Nova. Okay, got it. Now, something I didn't mention last part is that this game is technically a sequel and also a prequel. In Japan, this game is known as Assault Suits Vulcan, a sequel to Assault Suits Lenos. Or, as Assault Suit Lenos was released here in the States, Target Earth on the Genesis. Both of these games have remakes, though Lenos' was on the PS4, and I believe this game was on PS2? And both of these games have proper sequels, like numerical sequels, Lenos 2 and Vulcan 2. I think Vulcan 2 is a tactics RPG on, like, the PlayStation in Japan only. This game, in terms of storyline, takes place about 10 years before Target Earth, though. And it's also, I feel, the better game, at least in its original form. From what I've seen of the Lenos remake, that's a lot more intense than the Genesis version, but I also have not played the Genesis version all the way through yet. From what I've played thus far, by default, it is the best game in the series. And there's notably a couple things missing in the transition from the American version, the Japanese version of the Super Nintendo game to the American version. This is Jake. I've destroyed the hatch to Arc Nova. Copy. Proceed inside. Roger. I'm on my way. What I mean by things missing is beyond just a lot of mistranslations apparently behind the scenes and otherwise storylines just not connecting properly. Whenever a character speaks in the Japanese version, they have a dialogue portrait on the bottom of the screen. Not so much here, which I don't understand exactly why they took that out, given they obviously had the anime cutscenes to begin with. Maybe they just didn't want to connect the fact that, you know, you're controlling a person inside a mech, and therefore, if you explode, that's a proper death or something like that. Either way, now we have a relatively annoying mini-boss. We have two cannons circling around the room, constantly firing green laser beams, which thankfully your laser can block. And whenever they get purely vertical to each other, they make a giant laser beam that connects the two of them. And that laser beam does a lot of damage. Thankfully, this fight, while it can take a while, isn't too bad if you just decide to sit in either of the two corners here I'm around, as you can just wail on one at a time and eventually they'll die. With that said, when you kill one, you kill both, but I'm not sure if they share a health bar. I think it might just be whichever one's health you deplete first is the depleted health bar for the mini-boss. It's not worth trying to 8-directional movement your way around here. Just stay on the floor, hold L so your cannon stays stagnant, and fire forward like the Vulcan. The punch, if you have it fully powered up, can do some good damage there, but I don't have that yet. This is Jake. Where's the command center? Directly below you. Go around on the left. Alright, now this is actually something I completely ignore. If you head down to the bottom right here, you can walk right and find the command center, and there's dialogue there where you learn they're planning to throw this station into the moon, or into the Earth, should you know, we get too far. I accidentally skipped that plot point, though, because I want to come over here and get this health and power chip, and I proceed too far in the level too quickly. So, that's bad. We should probably prevent that. With that said, time for the level to get a bit more complicated. Everyone listen up. The enemy has started the engines to send Arc Nova hurtling toward the Earth. Change the attack target to the main engines located on the top of Ark Nova. Repeat, all ships, set your target for the engine located in the upper part of Ark Nova. God, the dialogue pacing is awful here. Now you have two pathway choices here. They both lead to the same place, but you can go to the right for a much safer pathway with just some enemy soldiers who shoot at you. Because I should note, the enemies will actively try to shoot you on foot, and they will do some decent damage that can pile up over time if you don't take them out fast enough. Or you can take your pathway through the missile launcher, which is my preferred route, because there's more power chips along this route. The thing to note about the missiles, though, the screen shakes slightly before they show up, but only usually the first third of the missile is an active hitbox. You can generally stand from like the latter half onwards and not worry about getting hit. Also, something you're going to want to do in this level, by the end of this level even, is fully upgrade the punch attack, as when it's fully upgraded, the punch has a much larger charge, but it also just does so much more damage, it's ridiculous. And you're going to want that to help destroy the engines on Ark Nova here at the end of the mission. This pathway is more dangerous than the other pathway we saw a moment ago, but it's more worth it in my eyes just due to the extra goodies you can get along the way. With that said, I will be jump cutting back there in a moment to the run I got the napalm gun on last part, because at this point we've united with the main pathway. So let's show off what's over here at least, just so I can say this is a relatively full LP. Much more linear, just some enemy soldiers shooting you with their handguns, don't have to worry too much. Now, as you may have seen at the beginning of the last part, this game was published in the US by Konami, but it wasn't developed by them. It was developed by a company named Messiah, which is a branch of NCS Corporation. Messiah, outside of these games, are probably best known for like the Super Nintendo port of Prince of Persia. But NCS Corporation themselves are known for a bit more besides just the Assault Suit series. They're known for like Choaniki and Langrisser, I believe, is their main series. They haven't done too much recently from memory, though. Also, we have another splitting path here. If you can time your jet thrusters correctly, because you can hover a little bit if you hold the jump button down, you can make it to this top path, which I believe has like 2 more boxes for you to open up. I think one has a power chip, one has a health chip. Super worth it either way, though there is notably, I believe, also a power chip on the bottom pathway. Yeah, it's both power chips. I thought there may have been a health chip there. Honestly, health would have been more useful here. I've located the enemy hangar. Watch yourself. I have readings of heavy artillery inside. Alrighty. But first I should show what happens if you fall all the way down this shaft. There's just another power chip. Oh no, it's a health chip. That's where the health chip is. I probably should have backtracked and grabbed that now that I think about it. Also, just dash under these fire thrusters. Your dash speed is more than enough to get past it. Either way, it's time for the boss fight, and oh boy, this is one for certain. You cannot stop, Granbia. Drop the base on the Earth? You want to involve civilians, do you? It's better than using a nuclear bomb. Here I go. So you're just strictly ripping off the colony plot line from Gundam. Gotcha. This boss fight's kind of annoying, though, in that he only attacks with more or less physical attacks. He'll punch you with his arms occasionally, and if you destroy his arms, he'll just settle for completely smacking his mech into you. And that does a lot of damage really quickly. With that said, as Kriya just said, this boss fight's also timed. You have 2 minutes not only to destroy the enemy's mech, but also to get to the top of Ark Nova and destroy the 3 engines on top of it. No, the 4 engines on top of it. And I'll be real, either save your missiles for destroying the Ark Nova's engines, or, as I mentioned earlier in this very video, get your punch up to level 3. As a fully charged punch will take out each engine in 3 punches. Admittedly, by focusing on the boss as much as I do, I believe I cut that 2-minute timer pretty closely, but still, if you want to succeed in the mission, you need to do that. This can be one of the harder moments in the game, and there's a reason for that. It ties into the game's ending. More on that when I cover that later this very video. I believe that's after the next stage. Granbia, complete your mission. And then he just explodes. Thankfully, all 4 of the engines are located within pretty short suit of each other. They're at different altitudes, yes, but because you're in 0 gravity, you can just jump and hold up, and you'll get to the next one pretty quickly. Still, I'd recommend dashing as much as you can, just so you don't end up pulling this as close as I do, because I think I'm like less than 5 seconds away from failing the mission at the end of this. Yeah, destroy that engine immediately. We have no time. I believe that means there's like 30 seconds left, if even. I cut this absurdly close. And you do notably need to finish the explosion animation for the engine. Whew! Made it just in time. Arc Nova has been knocked off course. Wouldn't it still crash into the earth at this rate, though? Roger. Return home. And with that, on to Mission 4. Because the battle with Granbia dragged on for so long, I was forced to enter the atmosphere. Either I'll be trapped in the Versus battlecraft, or this ship, and me along with it, will be destroyed. The long 10 seconds to death begins now. That is a super grim sentence for a Super Nintendo game. Holy shit. Alright, this stage is a little bit different. We are constantly falling down. Follow it as close to the atmosphere as you can. Roger. Roger. What we have here is a constant onslaught of 3 mechs. 1 red, 2 gray. The red one is completely indestructible, while every gray one you destroy will grant you a power chip. Spam missiles here as much as you can early on, or your punch destroy as many gray missiles or gray robots as you can, just so you can help get your weapons up that little extra boost. Also, now that we've upgraded our missiles to level 2, they have decent homing capabilities. I'll go more over what every single weapon does as it gets upgraded once we get the final notable weapon, which is going to be later this next part actually. I'm reaching maximum heat limit. Returning to shuttle. No, Major Beldork. My engine. I'm going for it. Rick. No good, Major. No more time. Oh dear, you're in a bad situation there, boy. What happened? One enemy suit was too slow to escape. I'll go and help out. That's dangerous. You'll be destroyed too. Don't worry. I'll be back. Alright, so what's happening here is a little bit vague. The Versus is actively like trying to rescue us, and you need to actively land on the Versus, otherwise you'll start taking damage from re-entry. That can be a bit tense, but that said, just land on the ship and everything happens automatically from here, really. Safe landing-ish. I'm assuming no one died in that crash. And this is weird. This entire segment here is just a cutscene. You can shoot Rick's mech as much as you want, it will never get destroyed. They're preparing to launch their transport shuttles. How many? Just one, but with several assault suits guarding it. Apollo, Mitch. Intercept. Roger. Roger. And away they go. And now we just have to wait. This is Apollo. One of those guys is really quick. Whoa! What's wrong? Apollo! No! Who got him? Oh, hi, you again. You from before. We meet again. What? How did he get onto this wavelength? You helped Rick. I wanted to thank you, but I'm taking him back. You just try it. I believe you're supposed to shoot Beldork a little bit here, but it just progresses automatically usually. Are you all right, Rick? Yes, Major. Okay, stay there. I'll pull you up. And then you need to wait, I think, until Rick gets off screen, and then the thing progresses a little bit, or maybe you do have to do some damage to Beldork here. I'm not entirely certain. This stage is a little bit vague in how it's supposed to work. But you can die here, so don't mess around too much with just going into his projectiles. Wait! And away he goes. The enemy assault suits are pulling out. No, Apollo. All men, let's do it for Apollo. But now let's get into some of the more interesting things. As I mentioned, the time limit on the boss fight in the previous stage was 2 minutes. You can actively let that time limit completely run out, and you will fail the mission. But unlike other missions thus far, the mission will fail, and the game will just continue. There are 2 missions in the game like this. Missions 3 here and mission 5, which we'll see next part. And I believe failing either one of these missions gets you the bad ending when you beat the game. By beating both, you'll get the good ending. But I figure I might as well show off the failure states, because otherwise, I just feel like the LP isn't complete. Notably, as you can see in the top right, I did both these failure states on the napalm gun line that I did last part. I don't really need to show this off, but I feel that this is such a cool detail that it's worth it. And does anyone like a cool cutscene for failing this mission as it is? The mission just ends. It's fallen too far for us to change its course. Get out of there! What a shame. I hope it lands in an ocean. Yeah, that happened to the dinosaurs, supposedly. It didn't end too well for them, Jake. And from there, not much changes. The next stage itself is ultimately the same until the cutscene angle where you can see the Ark Nova actively falling from space. And, well, I'm just gonna call it a hunch, Jake. What's about to happen is not what happens when a giant meteorite lands in an ocean. That wasn't a big splash. A shitload of people probably just died. From there, though, the stage continues as normal. But with that, I'm going to need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in part 3, we're heading into Mission 5. See you guys then.